So I'm gonna freeze.
We're live.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. For those of you joining us online, my name is Anthony Archie, Tulsa City Councilor for District 2, and you're joining us on April 29th for the UED Urban and Economic Development Committee meeting. And let's get started. The first order of business is to call the meeting to order. Number 2, Michelle Bordeaux, appointment to the Greater Tulsa African American Affairs Commission, filling the vacant Greenwood Cultural Center seat. Term expires May 1st, 2029. She hails from Council District 1. Is Michelle Bordeaux here?
I don't see her.
No? All right.
We'll get a hold of her and reschedule.
Okay, definitely. All right, well, we're moving right along. Number 3, Anna Theo. Am I saying that right? Tao. Sorry about that. Tao. Reappointment to the Asian Affairs Commission. Term expires January 1st, 2029. Attended 9 of 13 meetings from Council District 7. Welcome, Anna.
Hello.
You can just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to continue serving.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Anna Tao, and I currently work at Tulsa Community College as a senior academic advisor, and I want to continue this work for the Asian American, Pacific Islander, and Native Hawaiian community, because we've done a lot of work. In my first term, we were able to start the Luminary Awards, at least have 2 of them, and we highlighted members of the community that has shown leadership development in education, workforce development, and also the business area. And we are doing a lot of really great work, and I don't want to stop. The momentum is really good. We're about to debut, hopefully next month, a scholarship for graduating high school seniors for the Asian AAPI community. So just want to keep doing this work, and I'm glad that I am given this opportunity to continue to serve.
That's tremendous. Does anyone have any questions for Anna?
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Thank
It
you.
sounds like you just want to continue to build on the progress you've made. That's wonderful.
Yes, thank
Well,
you.
we're going to take a vote on you May 6th. You're more than welcome to come and to speak if you'd like, but you don't have to be there. And thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Well, enjoy the day.
Yes, thank you.
All right, going on to item number 4, rezoning application Z7854 from CS to CG for property located on the northeast corner of East 11th and 131st East Avenue, requested by Ethos, property owner Juan and Maria Oropeza. Sorry about that. Council District 3, TMAPC voted 8-1-0 to recommend approval for the change. And Susan Miller is with us.
Hi, good morning. So this is a commercial piece of property already. It's zone CS, east on 11th Street. And the intent here is to rezone to CG, mainly for, and I like saying this word if I can say it right, tortilleria. It's a, it's a tortilla manufacturing area. It's not the whole thing. I guess the building, they want to do part, the tortilleria, and the other, an event center. So for the tortilleria, that is a low impact manufacturing use, because it is a commercial, kind of a high impact commercial kitchen, so you can't do that in CS. You can only do it in CG if they go to the Board of Adjustment, so they're still gonna have to do that. And the event center would only be allowed per ride if they stayed under 250 people in the event. So that's really the purpose of this rezoning to CG. If you look around the area, I mean, this is on 11th Street, so there's some CH around, CS, so there's a lot of other types of commercial uses that are also, you know, could do something that intense, so it's not, doesn't seem that much out of line there. And let's see, the vote, I don't want to say it was unanimous, because I think there might have been.
It was 8-1-0.
Yeah, so there was one that dissented. Otherwise, we didn't hear from anybody from the area as we went through the process.
Okay. Any questions? Oh, good, small business is growing. I thank you so much. Are you staying for the next one?
Yes.
Yes, okay. This is for my area. Item number 5, rezoning application Z7855 from RS3 to RM3 for multiple properties located at the northeast corner and southeast corner of 42nd and Union, so 42nd and Union. Requested by Justin Bruin, Wallace Design, property owners James A. and Horico Girdner in Council District 2. TMAPC voted 9-0 to recommend approval of this rezoning.
So this is a large property between Union and Highway 75. It's RS3 to RM3 with the purpose of apartments. So if you're familiar with this area, the site, there's a bit of a, elevation change to it. We've seen some concepts. The concepts range about 136 units. It could accommodate more than that. Hard to know how much more because there's still quite a bit of parking you're gonna have to do if you start going up in units. But, so it was unanimously recommended for approval. We did not hear from anyone around the area. Of course, Reed Park is immediately to the west. There's some kind of large lot I think there's a church immediately south and some large lot residential further south.
Any questions? So I went and talked with neighbors. I go door to door almost every day, not every day, but weekly. And we want it. And hopefully this will help us. Maybe there can be some adjustments to the intersection at 41st and Union, but it's right there close to 75. So traffic getting on and off the highway. And we welcome developers to the west side, okay? I love it. Okay, anyone else? Item number 6, ordinance amending the fiscal year 25-26 budget to make supplemental appropriations $5,000 recognized from donation revenue within the general fund. This is from the Financial Empowerment Center and May Financial Literacy Events. Jared is with us.
Good morning, Jared Moore from Budget. This action is just appropriating $5,000 worth of donations to the Office of Financial Empowerment. It's going to go to their materials and supplies accounts to pay for materials and supplies related to the April and May literacy events that they are hosting.
Any questions about that? I had a minister reach out to me, this is last year, they wanted to do a series of events for their families. It was called Faith, Finances, and I can't remember, but anyway, they said, well, who can come out? I said, well, have the Financial Empowerment Center come out. They say it was one of the most impactful times of financial literacy that they've ever done. So they're doing good work and wonderful. Thank you, Jared. Item number 7, ordinance amending the fiscal year 25-26 to transfer available appropriations of $260,641.88 between account groups within the Emmett Till Cold Case Program Subfund Forensic Genetic Genealogy for Potential 1921 Race Massacre Victims. Jared?
And I have Mr. Williams here for the hard questions, but this is essentially moving expenses within account groups so that they can ensure to be spent in time before the grant deadline hits. And it's aligning the budget on our side to DOJ revisions that were approved.
Reese, did you have anything else to contribute, or
Nope.
anybody have any questions? Excellent. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Reese.
No problem.
Yes,
Thanks for the input.
Item number 8, ordinance amending the fiscal year 25-26 budget to make supplemental appropriations of $100,000 recognized from grant revenues to be received from Humana Health Horizons within the Social and Economic Development Non-Federal Subgrant, Humana Healthy Horizons Grant. All right. Counselor Dutton is joining us, but no, go ahead, Jared.
Pause. This is just appropriating $100,000 of a grant agreement from Humana to the Office of Health and Wellbeing. While they do have new things in plan and they have services and things that they're working on, in general, this is just their continued efforts to be self-sufficient. They're hustling for donations to continue to maintain operations. So this will be going to $80,000 for the salary accounts, $20,000 for other services and charges.
Counselor Bellis.
I just want to take a sec to hype the work of this, under Dr. Pasha's leadership of this department as they continue to bring in external grant funding. And we've seen that on an every few week basis on our council agenda. That's exciting that, and it shows a community commitment, especially also from some of these health insurers to investing in public health and partnering with the city. So just shout out to them. They continue to have success there, and I think it's building.
Wonderful. Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Pasha. All right, item number 9, resolution approving the allocation of affordable housing trust funds. We're bringing this back from last week. In the amount not to exceed $269,408 to assist in construction, rehabilitation, and improvement, including 147 affordable units pursuant to the agreement to provide development assistance for affordable housing trust funds between the City of Tulsa and TAO, Tulsa Authority for Economic Opportunity, in accordance with the Economic Development Incentive Policy of the City of Tulsa. Remind me of your name?
Vicki Jordan.
Vicki Jordan. All right. Thank you so much for being here, please.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me. So this request is for the Tulsa Square Apartments. It is a hotel conversion, and it will bring 147 much-needed units to our supply portfolio, if you will. They're going to be broken down between studios and one-bedrooms, and they have already started work on this property. Every 73 units are going to be devoted to those having an income below 60% of the AMI, and the cap on that amount would be around $37,000. And the remainder of the units are going to be definitely leased out to anyone below 120 on the AMI schedule. The group knows that they will have compliance issues to deal with once they start working on this, and they plan to hire a Tulsa-based management group that is familiar with compliance requests in this area. Important to note about the Oakview Hospitality Group is that they did important work up front, and that they communicated with various nonprofits in our community, Family and Children's Services, Heroes Hope, etc., to let them know what they wanted to do with this property, so there won't be an issue with lease-up. So that makes my heart feel good. But I'm happy to answer any questions. if anyone-
And is there someone, an expert that's waiting for you?
That's the next item.
Okay, next item. Okay. I have Counselor Gilbert and then Counselor Decker Wright. Counselor Gilbert.
Yeah, so thank you very much for being here this time. As you all remember, this was brought to us last week with Mr. Presley. Unfortunately, Mr. Presley had the wrong location. And so this is going over around 31st and Memorial area where there's quite a few hotels that are, there's already a few that have already been converted to apartments. We're keeping an eye on that area to make sure that we do not convert all of them into apartments. So, last week it was mentioned that this proposal was going on Skelly and Yale at a different OYO site. That is not the site. This is over off of Memorial.
Correct,
So,
31st and Memorial.
right, and this is one that actually, myself and Counselor Dutton, we discussed this back in November-ish. So it's been a while since it's been discussed and approved by the group, so, glad that it's finally coming for approval so that we can get some more housing.
Counselor Dr. Wright?
Thank you for clarifying that, and also, what's your timeline on conversion? Is it a 24-month project, or?
It'll be under 24 months.
Under?
They've already started working on the 4th floor, and the plan is to move down. So he anticipates completion of the 4th floor units by mid-May.
Oh,
Yeah,
will
so,
they start leasing them?
yes,
Okay.
hopefully, yeah, floor by floor. So that will be a welcome opportunity.
Great.
Counselor Dutton?
Yeah, which motel is it specifically?
I believe it used to be a Clarion.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
visualize where it's
Yeah.
placed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Counselor Bangle?
Yeah, I'm grateful for the repurposing of structures like this, because we talk about this all the time, about that Wyndham that just sits there empty and continues to
If you know anyone, already
dilapidate.
got it rezoned.
Yep,
Yeah,
so, yeah, this is good work, so, thanks, Vicki.
thank you.
And I like, we're trying to find a management company that's from
Local.
Tulsa, it's local,
Yes,
and that's very good.
it is, thank you.
Anyone else? Well, this has been
Thank
a
you.
really quick meeting. We have one more item. Thank you so much. Number 10. All right, thank you. Ordinance amending Title 43-M of the TRO, Tulsa Revised Ordinances, which is the City of Tulsa's expenditure policy for the 2023 temporary sales tax, amending the projects and purpose for which expenditures of proceeds may lawfully be made, providing for severability. This carries the emergency clause brought to us by Councilor Hall Harper. The proposed amendment, $5 million, Kirkpatrick Heights, Greenwood, to District 1. So the amendment is from $5 million, Kirkpatrick Heights, Greenwood, to District 1 Economic Development Projects. Required press conference was held on April 9th, 2026. Public hearing, April 29th. And we'll be voting on this on the 13th. Counselor Paul Harper, it's all yours.
Thank you.
Would you mind if we just make sure that the
Yes.
guests can hear real fast?
Yes, please.
Is it grandchild? Is it
Yes.
grandchild on? Can you hear us?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, there we go. All right, there. Okay, thank you, Sarah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So yes, I'm bringing this Brown ordinance to the council, requesting your support. I shared some information with you all last week, and there's other councilors, Councilor Bingo and others, we've talked about this kind of periodically over the last couple of years, in fact. But I am bringing this for a reason. So why are Brown, what is Brown ordinances and why are they necessary? Jack can give you the legal definition of what it is, but it is an opportunity or a way in which we as elected officials can make modifications to previous packages, in this case, Improve Our Tulsa in 2023, on specific projects. And so I want to draw your attention to what you've already read the agenda item, but the $5 million that was previously allocated to Kirkpatrick Heights, and what that language was in the actual ordinance, was Kirkpatrick Heights Greenwood Area Plan implementation. And so I want to assuage some rumors, if you've heard those, that said that I am attempting to move these dollars away from the Kirkpatrick Heights master plan. That's not true. Okay. And so I want to just share in general, I've had several concerns, again, even for the last 2.5 years, even back as far as when Kyan Camus was still the executive director of Partner Tulsa, and up until today. I've had many concerns, but the main concern that caused me to basically come to this decision, and I want to say I still support the master plan and its implementation and what it says. But what brought me to this decision
is simply the creation of an entity, and it's called the Greenwood Legacy CDC, or Community Development Corporation. And how it was created, and that whole process was facilitated by Partner Tulsa. And how my concerns have been ignored. I've been disrespected at several levels. And I've had conversations with the administration on this as well. And again, I've just simply been ignored. And I take issue with that when the citizens of District 1 elected me to be the voice on these matters. It'd be different if this land, publicly owned land, was private and outside of our purview. I was elected to be at the table, to have comment and to share and do what I feel best for my constituents 5 times, overwhelmingly so. And so that is why I'm here making this request. Again, the funds are not, just real specifically, are not being redirected away from Kirkpatrick Heights. There are 2 things that my request, primarily 2 things that I'm attempting to do. I am expanding the boundaries of the use of these monies for economic development in my district, but more importantly, I am requesting that the facilitation of how these funds will be administered be changed from Partner Tulsa and what they normally do to TEDC, which is why Rose Washington is here sitting at the table, and in partnership and collaboration with a community organization in our Greenwood Main Street program. And so that's in brief. I can go into more detail if you need me to. We still have a couple of weeks to talk about this, but I do want to move on to the presentation of, in lieu of what we really don't know, because we haven't been given a plan yet by Partner Tulsa, but this is what I am proposing in lieu of continuing down the same pathway that we've been with Partner Tulsa. So I will turn this over to Belinda Ratney, who is the executive director of our Main Street program. And then I think Frenchelle and Rose will chime in as well. You have handouts for the presentation, so.
I'll introduce myself first. I know some of you, but not all of you. My name is Belinda Ratney, and I'm currently serving as the executive director for the Historic Greenwood District Main Street. And we have been actually operating in the background as a partner all throughout the master planning process, from the early days of the organization of the idea and the creation of the RFP, all the way through the selection of WRT, through the execution of the planning phases, the public-facing activities to create the master plan, and then beyond that, in the discussions around the implementation of the strategies that were embedded in that master plan. So I say that to say that we are here at this stage with this presentation today, not to usurp the activities of any other organization. Greenwood needs all of them. What we are here asserting is that before we get to the point where shovels hit the dirt, that there are implementation phases that are necessary to actually be able to actualize the master plan in a way that creates its best and highest use. And that's what we want to see everywhere. And then the last point I'll make about that is that what we're proposing is also not novel for the city. The city has in the past and is currently today using the Main Street programs, the Main Streets that are within this district already established, as well as creating new ones to activate areas that have very community-focused development plans, whether that's from the early stages of Kendall Whittier, where it went from blight and dereliction to over like $118 million in investment. And similarly, we see it now being activated in the Pearl, where the plan that has languished for so many years is now also being reorganized and reimagined in the context of a Main Street. And so with that having been said, excuse me, and I apologize, I'm having a little bit of an asthma attack today, so I'm having a difficulty catching my breath. So I'm gonna have to pause and breathe and then talk.
Do you want us to give you some water?
Sarah's going to get some.
I have my inhaler too, so if you see me, yeah, I'm not gonna fall
We'll
down.
give you the Heimlich.
Okay, so let's get started. Vanessa, did you want to talk about these first points that are on the slide, or did you want me to take that?
Go ahead.
I'm in a different place. So what we are proposing is that we work as an implementation lead, not actually to, again, to displace any of the work that Partner Tulsa has been engaged in the creation of the CDC. But what we want to focus on, and what we are excited to be partnering with TEDC on, is an opportunity for us to really dig into what is needed in terms of the land infrastructure, aligning that vision with the comprehensive plan. We want to reduce the risk of leveraging the public investments, but at the same time, we are also equally committed as a Main Street to cultural preservation. I mean, that the four tenets of master Main Streeting, development or design, operationalizing, operations coordination, between other organizations as well as the city, promotion and placemaking, and then economic vitality. And that is the part that our organization has been engaged in now since its forming. We can move to the next slide. We are looking to partner with TEDC as the financial steward that we would be relying on, in part because of their experience, their demonstrated experience of success inside of the district. To this point, nearly all, I think, of the redevelopment that has occurred in, say, the last 10 years has been partnered and strongly guided by TEDC and under the auspices of Rose Washington. I'm thinking of the shops on Peoria, both their original development and revitalization. We have the emplacement of the grocery store in Oasis, and then we have coming the ribbon cutting for the gym, the Greenwood Entrepreneurship on Moton. All of those things have required careful coordination with the community, and also those projects are not just focused on the needs that are in the shopping basket today, but they are very much focused where I live, and people who know me know what I'm about to say. I don't come to a meeting that does not actually equate to bountifulness and prosperity in 2050. And those are the kinds of initiatives that have already started that are serving the people who are here today, but promise that they will actually deliver in the future. And so in that way, I'm excited that the Main Street would be able to work with TEDC. Next slide. Oh, let's go back. I'm sorry, I skipped a slide. Would you go back?
Berlinda, are we on the yellow, just for everyone that's following, we're on this one? Yeah. Or we're getting there.
Yeah, the next slide after that. We can continue on. There we go. So this is the timeline. I'm referring to the timeline slide.
It's out of order. Yep, let me go back.
Not sure.
It's on page 3.
Oh, that's what it is, okay. It is out of order.
Page 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, page 3. Our papers are out of order.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's,
Oh, okay.
sorry.
Oh, thank you.
I'll
That's
interject.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and so on the slide that you all have in your packets is titled How We Got Here. So basically, this is really outlining the story of how we landed in this place with a master plan that is now well understood by community, but ready to actually strategically be implemented. The master plan began it, as the timeline says, in 2019. Prior to that, the only plan that was in place related to development in the Greenwood boundary was the sector plan, and that is for those who are not familiar with that process, the sector plan is operationalized by Tulsa Urban Renewal Authority that we refer to as TDA. There's been a lot of stress in the community about that. Urban renewal has its place. It's had its place in those districts that I've already spoken of, in the Pearl, in Tulsa Hills, in Kendall Whittier, and even down in the 61st and Peoria corridor. We aren't I can't read. We are not arguing against that as a valid tool of a city or a region. What we are arguing for is that a sector plan doesn't give you the catalytic opportunities that you get when you say are developing an area like my neighborhood in the Market District, where there's a very clear understanding of a world-class opportunity and a structured manner in which you approach it. That's just not what an urban renewal authority does. Moving on, so in part in recognition for that, as you're looking at the timeline, that was part of the motivation on the part of the city in proposing to have a master plan developed in the first place, a true visioning for the future for North Tulsa. That was approved by the city, and then also in May of 2023, that $5 million was included in the IOT3. It's important to note that those monies were set aside in that bond issue before the creation of any of this discussion about what was going to be finalized in the master plan, much less before there was a creation of a CDC. And so what really all we're saying here is that not that a CDC doesn't have a place in the continuum of development, but that these funds were not necessarily imagined to automatically roll over to a CDC,
Correct.
that there are stages and steps that need to be implemented first. It's out of order. Let's see the next slide. Keep going, I think we talked about that already. Next slide. And this is reiterating something that I've already said. The Main Street structure is something that, you're going too fast, go back. There we go. So just as recently as a few weeks ago, when we enjoyed hosting, the city of Tulsa enjoyed hosting the national conference for Main Streets, I was very privileged, and my heart sang when Mr. Pursley was in presenting to the group at the plenary, stated that Main Street organizations are uniquely positioned to lead place-based revitalization by aligning community, capital, and partners to move from vision to implementation. And we are asserting that this is exactly the stage that we're at. And similarly, this is exactly the structure that, as I've said before, that the city is already implementing in other districts. And that's the next slide. I'm gonna have to use my inhaler. What Tulsa actually does. And again, I've touched on this already, but again, this is the model that we used in Kendall Whittier. This is the model that was used in the Market District, the Pearl District, and the Phoenix District. And, you know, I've lived within a mile and a half of these districts. I love my neighborhood. I live in Terrace Drive neighborhood. And so our neighbor to the north is Kendall Whittier. Our neighbor literally in my neighborhood and in my small area plan is the Market District. The Pearl District has been Pearlish since its beginning. I am a realtor, and I once had a listing that a van of people came, got out of the van, take pictures, and this is not a structure you would take pictures of. I'm like, why are you here? And they were here because Ma Barker used to live there with her criminal sons. And they were following the path of the Barkers, you know, to their final demise in Missouri. So I say that to say that the Pearl District is equally as fraught, right, with restrictions on development as we have seen in the north of 244. I mean, these districts that are listed here are in the but-for range of development. And so then finally.
No, well, if we need to take just a moment and for you to have your inhaler and someone else contribute.
Yes,
Yes.
you want to take it?
Let's,
Well, I don't want to listen to
Oh.
I need to read about Ma Barker for a second.
yeah,
I will tell you where it was. It was at the corner of 7th and Trenton.
Oh,
They
wow.
literally lived at the corner of Seventh and Trenton. It was called Park Avenue at the time. And I lovingly refer to that district as being the home of vampires and werewolves. The werewolves are out in the daytime, and the vampires come out at night. And, you know, and quite frankly, it's remarkable what the Loback Taylor Family Foundation has done in terms of revitalizing and rebranding the Market District. When we bought our house, not too far to the north, you know, people would say, oh, you live there. And if they brought their children there, they would say you have to hide their eyes,
Right.
right? Because of notorious things that happened at night. I never saw them, but again, the reason that, you know, coming back to why an organization like the Main Street has relevance in this phase of the development is that we can see beyond the current. And as much as I love the Greenwoodians who are here today, I am here for the Greenwoodians who will be alive in 2121. In the 25 years that I have been in the commercial space, whether as a realtor or a business owner, I have seen personally development that has been catalytic in, whether it's Brookside, we operated a business directly across the street from Channel 2, where Trader Joe's sits today. And I would be the first to say that the revitalization of Brookside, it has been a gift to the city. It has caused displacement. And that's where, for instance, the community benefit agreements that can be embedded in the operations of a CDC are relevant. Because there have been people who have been displaced by all this wonderful, bountiful development. But that's not the stage we're at. And in fact, with this particular master plan, the folks have already been displaced. So the work of community benefit isn't this phase either. It's in the next phase of implementation. This phase is making sure that the bucket is big enough, the infrastructure visioning, the resources that are gathered to support that development are world-class enough that anything that the community says they want to put there can be there. Well, I mean, I'm not following the slide, but I'm going to say that as a realtor, when I look at Pine Avenue, and part of the reason that we connected in the first place is that when TDA elected to sell the property that became a dollar store, my issue as a realtor wasn't necessarily whether there are too many dollar stores. My issue was that was not the best and highest use. That would have been a perfect place to put an IHOP. Imagine the sales tax revenue. And the catalytic impact it would have had going further down the road. That's where we sit as a Main Street. We are looking for the opportunity to help the city catalyze something. I'm not interested in the shovel projects. I'm interested in the implementation of the bucket, the vision that makes the townhouses, respectfully, that Boomtown has created, sell immediately. Because I tell you what, the ones that look very similar to that in the Wheeler District, you know, the rainbow houses, they're all sold.
Let's give, we'll give you a moment to take.
Thank you.
Rose or Councilor Hall Harper or
Frenchell.
Frenchell, do you want to jump in with some comments and perspective? And slides. Can you hear us?
Sure, I would just, I can't hear you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a say yes.
Yes.
She can't
Are
hear
you
us.
able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes. What I would simply echo is what both Harper have said, as well as I would, at this point of the implementation phase, we're really talking about what is the appropriate development tool, correct? We're not as much talking about the delivery of housing and its delivery of commercial, but what is the feasibility and analysis necessary to execute on the vision that was so laid out in the master plan? And so when we look at Main Street and when we look at TEDC, we're able to really fully understand the power of execution and implementation. As the slide kind of references, this isn't something that's a theory. The Main Street and TEDC were created at the very beginning, prior to the beginning of the master plan, prior to the development stage happening. And it's really the tool that the city of Tulsa uses in order to properly execute on not only master plans, but also ensure those master plans are undergirded with the city's comprehensive plan. So that, one, we understand what is the highest and best use of a particular parcel. We understand the infrastructure needs of a particular area. We are able to determine what is the valuation of a district and its potential to catalyze economic vitality in the area. And we understand what are the root needs of citizens and community residents in a particular area. This is not a new concept. It is a tried and true concept that the city has used time and time again to ensure that equitable development happens across the city and that community is at the forefront of place-based solutions and decision-making.
So, I will attempt to close us out. I'm Rose Washington Jones with Tulsa Economic Development Corporation. And Berlinda, I thank you for believing that TEDC really is responsible for the development that has happened around the shops on Peoria and at that corner of Pine and Peoria. The truth is that we did catalyze the development in partnership with the city of Tulsa.
Yes.
And so when Councilwoman Hall Harper asked me if we would manage economic development funds for a specific initiative, of course, I said yes. We've been called on as TEDC since I've been in Tulsa to affect real positive change, and we've used small businesses and financing those businesses as a tool of wealth building and of economic development. And so it took me a while to figure out how to actually use the funding that we have been, we've benefited from, not just from the city of Tulsa, but from the U.S. Small Business Administration and from the U.S. Treasury and the host of federal agencies that have funded us. But how could we use those funds to really affect change and create wealth at the same time? And so we have figured out the secret sauce. In doing so, we have managed millions and millions of dollars, of federal dollars, city dollars, philanthropic dollars. And I will say that in my 23 years at TEDC, we've had perfect single audits, no findings. And so we have perfected the management of funds that align with nonprofit financial accounting standards. And so we bring a level of financial stewardship to this project along with, or this initiative, along with a level of commitment to ensuring that community development and economic development coincide, and that partnership is key. We don't do anything without partners. We use what we do best to impact and enhance partnerships. And I think it is critical for all of us as we talk about next steps with the master plan to think about how we truly partner to make magic happen. And our role, and I cannot attempt to eloquently state what Berlinda has said, and I won't, but our role here is simply that as a financial steward, managing funds, ensuring compliance, structuring projects and deals that create real impact, not just for community benefit, but for those business owners who hope to build wealth that will impact community for years to come. We catalyze, and we will continue to do that. Part of our work is catalyzing through partnerships. And if a seed that the city has planted through us leads to the redevelopment of an entire corner, as an example, Pine and Peoria, where we started with a little strip center, we added shops on Peoria. Now, I'm not exactly excited about all of the fast food restaurants that are there, but that's what you find across the city. And that's what people want. And so if you drive there, if you drive from Pine North, you will not be able to tell which part of town you're in now. I would say 15 years ago, you knew where you were.
Yeah.
Now you cannot tell because it is a true urban center that is thriving. Adding to the development of the Shops on Peoria Oasis. Now, there were a lot of naysayers who said a single operated grocery store cannot survive. I look at the financials of that business every month, and they are probably one of the most profitable and successful stores in Tulsa.
And Black
And,
owned.
and so, continue on down the road where we have now had the opportunity, in fact, with a number of folks around this table, Councilwoman Hall Harper, the mayor, Partner Tulsa, a host of people who supported TEDC leading the redevelopment of Moton. It has been a high honor to see that building come to life, and tomorrow we will celebrate that. But it would not have happened if TEDC had attempted to do it alone. It took a host of partners, and so if there was a way we could change the name of Tulsa Economic Development Corporation to add partner and partnership, I would do so, because truly, that is the core of how we have been successful and how we build prosperity for people and families and entrepreneurs and small businesses and community through the work that we do.
I'd like to make a quick closing statement if I
Well,
could.
I want to add to what Rose just mentioned, and as you mentioned, the shops, Oasis, the Greenwood Entrepreneurship at Moton, the Save Our Homes initiative that we see that help people stay in their homes. I have been very intentional about using Rose. Sometimes she probably gets criticized for that, but her entity is designed and set up for this work. And so when I do need something done that's catalytic and transformational in my community, yes, I seek Rose. And so and I think, and I will say from my public facing and elected position perspective, she has trust in a community, and you can't do what you have just said, and we listed these accomplishments without the trust of the community. And unfortunately, that's not shared when it comes to Partner Tulsa. And so that is why I'm asking for this modification, so that we can continue this transformational work for my district.
And my final statement is that, you know, I too am on the record as not saying supportive things about the work of TAO as it relates to the work in Greenwood. But my rationale for that isn't really about the personages of the people in it. It is that it doesn't have the skill set to actually create a world-class opportunity. It's not designed to do that. And it's notable that this master plan began in City Hall. It did not begin inside of Partner Tulsa. Now, it transitioned its way to Partner Tulsa, but I would suggest that the catalytic part of it has gotten stripped away the closer it has gotten to the authorities that operate and frame that development of this master plan. All we're saying is, let's claw it back a step, right? Let's get it back out of the authority structure and back into the type of operationalized system that we are implementing as we speak right now in other districts, which have also are containers of urban renewed land. We can do this. And we need to pause just for a moment to make sure that what we're really envisioning is something as world-class as the Market District, world-class as what that Pearl Plan is gonna look like when it's finally executed, world-class as what has happened in Tulsa Hills, from nothing. I mean, there wasn't anything but scrub up out there. World-class as what we've seen other cities do. Jinx is marching on along. They are not implementing this type of structure to operationalize their visions. And we need to not do that in Greenwood as well. That tool is old. Let's go back to implementing like a market-driven, private sector approach to operationalizing this vision, because it is a world-class vision.
Thank you so much. Franchelle, do you have any closing comments before we go to questions?
Sure, I would just say, first of all, thank you all, counselors, and thank you, Council Hall Harper, for inviting me to help support the work. I would just make us think about the starting race, right? Like, we all are familiar with a racetrack and the 400 meter, right? Let's think about what is happening in Greenwood right now. We've already done the work, the track has been laid, all runners are ready, and we're ready to go. But inserting a CDC is untying the shoelaces of Greenwood. It's saying it's fine to run with the shoes you have, but somewhere down that track, you're going to fall, you're going to trip. It interrupts the momentum that has already been created. Every district that has catalyzed redevelopment at any real scale across the city of Tulsa has engaged with the Main Street, the city, private developers, community residents. It has not untied the shoelaces of its citizens in order to get the work done. And I would just encourage us not to do the same in Greenwood, to allow Greenwood to continue on the forward momentum that it has in terms of the vision that has been laid out in the master plan, and move forward with a tool that we know works, like using TEDC and the historic Greenwood District Main Street to get that work done.
Thank you, Ms. Franchelle. All right, we have questions. I'll just call on you and we'll take it from there. Counselor Lori Dector-Wright.
Well, thank you, Chair Anthony Archie. So formal right there.
So I put down LDW.
Oh, thank you. It's probably more the speed around this table. Hi, Franchelle, and thank you to Rose and Berlinda for this presentation. I was really honed in on the conversation around Kendall Whittier. As you know, I ran a nonprofit in that district from 2015 to 2023, so we're part of the community partners that congealed around the Main Street sector plan. It was one of the first things I did in my executive role with my little nonprofit as a bigger partner group to do the sector planning exercise, I think probably in 2015.
Something like that.
And really what you saw was that the Main Street under Ed Shar leadership, and then it transferred, now there's 2 executives since him, but I also saw his name in this packet for the Phoenix district. So he knows what he's talking about, and for those of you who represent Kendall Whittier, Councilor Dutton, Councilor Bellis, Councilor Hall Harper, you've seen that the Main Street can help be that trusted voice to convene everyone. And so this slide here that has the yellow on it, you know, kind of talks about the stakeholder coordination, getting, and I will say in Kendall Whittier, I mean, not everyone was excited about all the things, right? There was some push-pull, and that's healthy. That's healthy. I think better ideas come from, you know, a debate, and then we end up in that neighborhood. It seemed like all the investment was south of 244, right? So these are conversations and negotiations that we've seen work in nearby neighborhoods. The other thing I just wanted to point out is when you look at what does Tulsa actually do, it's not lost on me that Kendall Whittier borders the Market District and Pearl. So you see this, as Rose just said, if you go to Pine and Peoria, it looks like, you know, 91st or 71st and Memorial. Like when you see those national chains that are there, the volume of people coming through, the proximity to highway, and what that looks like. And so we're gonna see that whole corridor now with the incubator coming on. You start to see the amenities of the Liquid Lounge is going to be there. Local restaurants, not just those national chains, so there's a good mix. And so it's already started. What I am understanding this to mean, and I do appreciate the timeline too, and understanding that the $5 million was put in the package before there was some of these other entities contemplated or established. It's not to the exclusion necessarily of what Partner Tulsa is trying to do or the CDC. It's to the inclusion of these other entities that have a proven track record already doing the work, and the trust of the community, which again, going to my experience in Kendall Whittier, there was a lot of distrust because for a lot of folks that had been there a long time, they felt left behind. It was the most dangerous part of town. If you ask the police department, there was I mean, even when I got there in 2015, it had already overcome some of the biggest black eyes that it had for our whole city. And I remember Ed Shar specifically taking me on a driving tour and making comments about the vampires and the
Werewolves and
and the
vampires.
werewolves and how nice we could stop at a stop sign and not be interrupted with solicitation. So that neighborhood continues to be in transition, and there continues to be a push-pull between residents and, you know, bigger entities in the neighborhood, smaller entities. But I think for the most part, we've upheld Kendall Whittier as the, you know, example of how it works well. And I think we're trying to model that in the global district. Still pushing through with Route 66 Main Street as well. And then, of course, Greenwood, which is one of the newer ones. And some of the things that we're looking to do in Sobo and these other districts that might not have the Main Street designation, but to the earlier point, a Brookside, a Cherry Street, those areas that are destinations that people want to be in, that they want to live near, that they want to base their businesses in. So to me, this is a win-win. I thought it was ambitious to do the ask for the Improve Our Tulsa dollars. At the time, there was a bigger package of investment for those of us that got to make that decision, and those who weren't here yet. There was a bigger package of neighborhood investment, and this was nested in that, like the portion allocated to the District 1 neighborhood that was identified. But it sounds like this is just a little zooming out and maybe being a little bit more inclusive, which I never think is a bad idea. So I'm supportive of this. I think it's important to continue the conversation around how do we leverage city dollars to bring in the private dollars. And I don't think, you know, this isn't just 5 million, it should double or triple if we can leverage those dollars with the private sector or even other governmental entities or things like that. And so I also, for anyone who just thinks this is like one little pot of money and it doesn't grow, I think if people do it the right way, they can leverage those dollars 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, however it goes. So, and there should be an understanding that while we focus where the harm was done in Greenwood specifically, we see that the harm was done beyond those 30 square blocks. And I think as we just had a whole weekend talking about beyond apology, we really need to understand that just as you can have a catalytic thing that uplifts a whole area, we've had devastation that has depressed a whole area. So to me, this is just part of the whole conversation and dialogue and understanding that we've been on a journey for since, at least as a public body, since 2021. So that's all I wanted to say on that. Thanks.
Would it be out of order for me to reply to something she said? And notably, right, Kendall Whittier has a population, right, and as you said, there was a lot of division within that population, with new entrants and the historic entrants. I mean, and it was a serious demographic difference, like a whole different ethnic group of folks that it's currently focused around. But Kendall Whittier has all the things. It has a Main Street. It has a community quarterback that is very, very, very careful about the community benefits part of development in that district in the form of growing together. And it also has public and private philanthropy. It had a portal in. We don't have that in North Tulsa. We do not have a funnel for private philanthropy or for private monies that is not directly connected to Partner Tulsa. And so this will be like a first opportunity, as you said, in terms of a multiplier, to actually have a partner that does this. That is what a CDFI does. And so this would, I think the importance of partnering with an institution like TEDC at this stage is that she helps to create the momentum that creates the multiple before the shovels hit the ground.
And also in Kendall Whittier, there were competing interests, and sometimes there was vigorous debate, but then you see the outcomes. So not everyone was happy with everything, but I think overall now people feel safer in the neighborhood. There's more amenities in the neighborhood. It's become more walkable. Since I have the floor, I'll just say development north of 244 has not been as vigorous and needs to continue, because that neighborhood actually goes all the way to Dawson Road.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
you know,
I'll comment
it's,
on that in a
it's
moment.
still in progress, but you gotta start somewhere.
Yes, yes. Okay, well,
Oh, is it
continue
my
on.
turn?
Continue on, Councilor.
Thank
Pat.
you, I appreciate that. So, I appreciate all the conversation going forward. And the talk about Kendall Whittier, and I can appreciate, I remember when Counselor Gary Watts began that process for the Kendall Whittier area. There is a lack of momentum going forward on the north side, sadly, but that goes hand in hand with the issues that the north side has had with development and finding money to improve that area. And these improvements that we're seeing, that were talked about, are all on the south side. And we really need to start focusing on putting the same investments north of 244. And with this, I see this as a win because it also borders Kendall Whittier. And the discussion about the bordering Kendall Whittier with Pearl and the improvements there has been a complete win-win. And so you don't see the same sort of development in North Kendall Whittier as you do South Kendall Whittier. You don't have the same sidewalks, accessibility to some of the amenities. Speaking just for my district, we do not have accessibility to a community center. So growing together, coming in now and starting to focus on the north side has been a positive aspect of going forward and getting this all developed. Those are my comments, and then I have a question that Counselor Bellis left with me to ask because she can't be here. Her question is, the CDC has already been allocated $2 million to get started, and I learned there's a nearly $1 million federal grant that pairs with that work for technical assistance. I don't want to fall for the sunk cost fallacy, but that is a lot of dollars that have already been allocated toward the Kirkpatrick Heights work, and it's teeing up the $5 million. How would this proposal continue to leverage those dollars and not subvert them or let them go to waste?
That was my question too, ma'am.
Oh, how about that?
Well,
Great
that,
minds.
that work is, this is not replacing
Mhm.
the work of the CDC. That work will continue. But this is, as I said before, the trust of the community is no longer within that process, unfortunately. During the master plan, it was. I participated in it. But when it came to the place where you are now removing me from the conversations and where decisions are being made for the community, but without the community, and certainly without the community's elected leader, then that causes me pause. And so, again, we're not saying that there's not work to be done and that they can continue to do that work. But when it comes to these funds, we need to pivot, not to totally change and go in a whole different direction, but to pivot to ensure that what the community was promised before and during this whole process actually receives what it was promised.
Can I
And
also-
we mentioned partners, yes, and we mentioned partners. I just want to read if you even look on the website, this should cause everyone pause that all of the partners that are listed are all government entities. TDA, KO, City of Tulsa. That is incestuous by nature, right? Where are we, the people, included in that formula?
Oh, I get it.
And
Can I follow up?
I would add on, for both of the questions, that what has been proposed in the Brown ordinance is that this visioning wouldn't be limited to, what's now called Opportunity 1, 2, and 3, which is the land that's held. But the reason it's called Opportunity 1, 2, and 3 is because I insisted that it be called Opportunity 1, 2, and 3, and not RFP 1, 2, and 3. Because the focus of TDA, and by extension, Partner Tulsa, is on the land. the focus of the master plan, the focus of the counselor, and quite honestly, the focus of my organization is on the district. All of the district, not just those parcels. Because to a certain degree, I call TDA's focus on the land like a square ball, right? And which will roll 3 times, 1, 2, 3. And when those zones are developed, if they are not developed in such a way that it catalyzes for the rest of the district, it's over. That's why I'm pressing. And unfortunately, in the way that a CDC is structured, it has a limited footprint. It has a catchment, and it does not extend to the whole district. That's a problem. Because the main focus of the master plan was to catalyze across the district, and by extension, across the boundaries into other sectors that also need to have that catalytic handshake. So that would be my response to that.
Okay.
All right.
I'm hoping that Counselor Bellis is watching.
She said she would. She was gonna.
Okay.
I have maybe 2 or 3 questions. So your desire is for Partner Tulsa to continue the work that they're doing with the master plan, just without that $5 million. Is that right?
They still have access
still
to
have
it.
they
Just
still have
more
access
people
and
would have
opportunity.
access.
Yeah.
More entities would have access.
More
And it won't be
partners.
controlled there. That excludes myself and others that I represent. Because right now, that's what it's doing, that's how it's functioning, that's how it's operating.
Okay. And there's 2 other questions I have before. I'm gonna follow up with that question. I think it would be accurate to say the voters voted for the boundaries of the Kirkpatrick Heights plan. They didn't vote for the facilitator. And so, you know, no one is necessarily owed a spot as the facilitator. I just want to be careful, the way that some folks have been leveraging the phrase, the voters decided X, Y, and Z. The voters decided on, you know, the Greenwood Kirkpatrick Heights master plan. After that, there is discussion about who gets, you know, to facilitate these funds. Obviously, we want Greenwood to be, you know, thriving and successful. Maybe give me a little bit more color. I have a big question. Answer this question, because I think there's an issue that I'm trying to get over. The plan outlines a specific geographical region. You're asking to expand that region. Somebody might say to me, they voted for this particular puzzle piece. You're trying to expand that puzzle piece. Maybe we can justify changing the facilitator because, you know, we want the best person or we want a collaboration. But how do you justify the expanding of the boundary, which may have been decided during the vote? You know what I'm saying? Or does that make sense?
No.
So the Greenwood Kirkpatrick Heights master plan designates a particular area. And
Yes.
your desire is to expand that area.
To expand the boundaries of the resources of the 5 million.
Right. And so, someone might say to me, the area that was decided on and then voted on, that is the area.
And that area is still in District 1.
Right.
We're not picking it up and moving it somewhere. It's still in District 1.
I think the issue is like I just want clarity on, we can expand those boundaries? There's no problem with the expanding?
That's why we're going through the ground ordinance process.
Okay.
But they actually,
I'm gonna-
the stated objective to expand the boundaries is not misaligned with the purpose of the master plan. The master plan became much more focused on opportunity 1, 2, and 3, but its outcomes were supposed to be for the whole master plan boundary, which extend well beyond opportunity 1, 2, and 3.
Right, but I mean, so I agree. What I'm thinking is you have the master plan, you allocate the $5 million to do whatever we're gonna do within that plan, and it is catalytic for those outside of the plan, for those outside of those boundaries. What I'm hearing you all say is, let's just expand those boundaries, period, and then use those funds in the expanded area. Is that right?
My understanding at the time was that the voters were deciding to support the outcomes of the master plan, but those were
Implementation.
outcomes that had not yet been determined. So-
But the boundaries
The
had been determined.
implementation.
But the boundaries had been determined, right?
No, not in the way that you're framing it. I mean, I don't have the plans in front of me, so
Okay.
I want to be careful about how I state it, but having been in the room, I'm saying that the money was intended to make sure that there would be funds at the time that the master plan was finalized to be able to support those outcomes. Now, whether those outcomes led to, and it states this in the plan, in the summary,
Okay.
it could have gone to a CDC, it could have supported a community land trust.
Right.
And then there's another branch that says, or some other implementation partner.
Mhm.
And so the fact that we went one way as a community, right, doesn't mean that the master plan didn't include or even anticipate that there would be others.
Okay. And kind of my main question to follow up on, maybe give me a little bit more color on, we put TEDC into the mix. What's the sort of relationship that you all have with Partner Tulsa or with Greenwood Legacy? How do you imagine that relationship moving forward?
So in terms of TEDC, as I said, if I could change our name and add partner, I would, because we do nothing in a vacuum. We do nothing as a standalone CDFI. Partnership is critical. We collaborate across the board. I have a great working relationship with Partner Tulsa. I have a great working relationship, as far as I'm concerned, with every entity that we work with. And I can name probably 50. I have not had an opportunity to engage with the new CDC. I've reached out, and I've not had an opportunity to align calendars to meet with John. I think this is John. Of course, I know Dr. Lana Turner Addison, but I have not had a conversation with the CDC. But the bottom line is this, when any city councilor calls, and you know this, I answer.
Oh, yeah.
Because TEDC was built for the city and by the city, designed in a way to serve without the restrictions of government, but with accountability. And so that, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, what I'm hearing you say is you're willing to work with whoever's willing to work with you.
Absolutely.
And respect
And
leadership.
and even who's not.
And I will respond by saying, I am notoriously agnostic. I hear everything that everybody's saying, but that's not why I'm sitting at this table. I am not here for the current furor. I'm here for 2050 and 2121, full stop. I don't have any hostility towards the Legacy Corporation at all. And in fact, I'm on the record as having stated that I strongly believe that the Main Street should have a standing seat on that board. And I will advocate for it strenuously. I mean, I wasn't able to attend the community meeting that they had Saturday because I was at a different community meeting, but I intend to attend it Thursday. And I actually deeply admire some of the ways in which the organization has been structured. I think the Elder Council is fantastic. And I intend to support it, with my time as I raised my hand to participate as a member of the working group that is adjacent to the formation of the CDC. This isn't about the CDC. This is about the plan. This is about the city's commitment to the execution of that plan to its highest and best use.
Anyone else? We've heard from people who are for it, and I'm, of course, still
Yes,
considered.
Counselor.
Okay.
Counselor, I'd like to
Go ahead.
add something.
Please, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Can't hear you, I don't think.
So this is the actual final master plan document. This is the final master plan document that outlines the focus area of the master plan. If you look at the current boundaries as it existed in the master plan and the study area, they were not condensed to opportunity areas 1, 2, and 3. It was far broader. And so when the citizens voted, we voted on a broader understanding of the scope, scale, and size of the area that would be impacted. If you look at its current boundaries as it sits, and this is something that I've pulled from the CDC's website as the final plan, it is almost 50 to 60% of District 1. So I believe that the district and the citizens who voted for this bond measure assume that based upon what is presented in the master plan, the majority of the area is District 1. It is not relegated to opportunity areas 1, 2, and 3. And if we look at the exact language of the master plan, it's the bond measure itself, it does not explicitly imply that any entity would be the implementation partner. That partner had not been named at the time of the bond measure, and the CDC had not been created until 3 years later. So I think that while we're, yes, talking about expanding the boundaries to
All right, we lost you a little bit there, but I think we're getting,
We got the gist of it.
I think we're getting the gist of what you're saying.
She's in paradise.
All right.
So,
Very good discussion. Does
We
anyone
don't
else?
vote till the 13th, so do,
correct.
um,
We can bring this back.
if people have questions.
I would like to have any questions around this, this data, so that we can, if you have any more, we can get those questions answered for you.
Definitely.
Deeper dive. And certainly, we're scheduled to be back on either 10:30 or 2:30, I'm assuming it'll stay the 10:30, on the 13th for the
Good.
subcommittee meeting, and then it's also, on the agenda for another public hearing tonight, public hearing on the 13th, and potentially a vote.
So plenty of time for public discussion and
Ongoing.
And more questions.
For sure.
That we can answer, please. Share those.
Anyone else like to share?
No.
All right, well,
Thank you.
time for lunch.
Thank you.
We just loved it. Join us at 2:30, no, 1 o'clock? Oh, wait. All right. All right, thank you all so much. We're gonna have a break. We'll see you at 1 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.